the Barbershop. I'm your host, Matt Horner, with my co-host, Keith. How you doing?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Doing good. It's baseball season, and it's time to get the kids out there and win and get a trophy.
So, yes.
I want one of them winning trophies, not one of them, I showed up, so give me my participation trophy.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean.
Mm-hmm. I almost want to say, give me my money back if you give me a participation trophy.
So you don't like the swag, the stuff we all get?
Yeah, I like some swag, but, I guess it is good. But I just don't want that to be I want a first place, second, and third.
So you want definite winners.
I want
and
definite winners
losers.
and definite losers.
Okay.
And I'm really okay with my kid being on the last place team.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be. Chances of my athletic baseball ability are that he might be.
And by might be, you mean he's got other kids on the team that are good.
Yeah. Hey, but we do have a family pro baseball player that played for the Braves, Bob Horner, in the 80s.
Really?
Early 90s, yeah.
Was it like a
Had his
distant
baseball
cousin?
card. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You know, my wife's family has had very successful baseball players as well. Her uncle was a great baseball player, and her grandpa was even offered a contract with the MLB.
Oh, really?
Yep. He turned it down because he didn't want to run.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I turned down my professional mascot career.
Anyway.
Back when I was a mascot for the Stephenville Yellow Jackets, and I had colleges recruiting me all over the place saying, hey, come be the Bumblebee for us. And I said, wait. Guys, it's not for me. It's time for me to go and earn some good trophies in the cabinet shop.
But that is a trophy, right? Your tenure as a mascot.
The greatest Stephenville Yellow Jacket mascot ever, yes.
You sort of hold that as a personal trophy.
I do, because I had a blast, had a lot of fun, and we had a good football team at the time, and I threw some crazy pepper alleys.
Did you?
Enough that the principal was always eyeing me like, I'm watching you. Like, he hated me, you know what I'm saying? Because I was always on the gray there,
Always on the fringe, ready to do something daring.
Yeah.
So we all have trophies in our lives, things that we are putting down in our book of success.
Yeah, it's how you want to be viewed as, too. A lot of times it's like, well, I'm Matt Horner. I am the, barber, and I want people to be bragging about the great haircuts or whatever. And, you being a minister and all that, you want people to be bragging about your trophies, which could be very strong spiritual trophies.
Yeah.
And
do you get a lot of people talking about their trophies in the barbershop?
Oh, yeah. So, right now, a guy came in and brought a deer. He shot Eastland County's record low-fence white-tailed deer, and he brought a picture and had it framed and everything, and
wow,
we got it there. And people come in and look at it and talk about it.
How many points was it? A 30-point buck? I
don't know how many points it was, but it was big on the Boone & Crockett, and I didn't know all this, but you can tell the difference between a free deer that's not in a high fence versus a deer that's in a high fence. I didn't know that there was. You can look at and say, oh, I thought that was funny. That's kind of like a man in prison and a man out of prison. You get the teardrop tattoos and everything, the guy in the prison, but the guy's not.
It's a pretty random example.
I'm just saying, you put things in captivity, they look different.
I hope you never go to prison.
Don't worry, man. I might get one of a tiger or something.
Yeah.
Pouncing out of the, our little bird in a cage.
Right, on your big arm there.
Our forehead. I got a large forehead.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for material up there. That's
so
funny.
Anyway, I'm just saying that there's trophies and guys bring into them. During baseball right now, it's funny. The little boys come in, they brag about it. I had a little boy talk about how he had a home run a few days ago, and I said, how'd you get the home run? He goes, oh, I had a good hit, and they overthrew first base. And I said, yeah. And he goes, then they overthrew second. I go, yeah. He goes, well, from then I made it to home. And I said, well, good job. I'm glad you got a home run. But he was proud of his home run.
Yeah.
It was, but he was telling me all about it.
Sure.
And other little kids come in talking about track right now is also going on. And so we had the district track meet and things like that and who did well. And,
okay.
And so it's funny. So people come in, but then the funny ones are the dads, the parents that are so proud of their kids' trophies. So they're living through their kids.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny. There's this one guy who still thinks his son's a great football player. He comes in. His son's been out of high school for a few years now, gained a lot of weight, but his son's walking on right now, or was going to walk on for a nearby college football team.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Yeah, I bet they'll take him." And I wanted to think, man, I think he gained about 200 pounds of pudding weight. I'm pretty sure they're not going to. This ain't like he gained a bunch of weight because he's been working out. This is like, anyway. But his dad is like full blown, like, my son's going to get, Division I walk on. He's going to be the next Rudy.
And sometimes, I think we've talked about this in the past, is that the parents can want the trophy for their kids more than the kids want the trophy.
Yeah, the trophy can be so glimmering, so shiny that this dad sees his son being this great football player. He's so shined out by that, that he really can't even look at his son and like realize, hey man, your son's gained a lot of pudge.
Yeah, or maybe that your son doesn't want this.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case, but
that's not always. Yeah,
and it's good to be proud of our kids, of course, and to be supportive of them and what they want. But we can hold our kids as our trophy. Look at how my son turned out, and then we brag about our trophies too.
Yeah. My both me and my wife come from families that overall the kids are great. None of us are in prison. We all have happy marriages, and have successful, decent careers. None of us are living at home still.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's funny because I see my parents bragging about how great their kids are. And I've seen them like in their Sunday school class where they have other friends and like they have their 30-year-old son still living at the house. They can't get kicked out and stuff. And I can just see my dad's, well, I know what I'd do and blah, blah, blah. And he just spouts off about how he would, manage the situation.
Yeah.
And so even my own parents, I see them being proud of me, which makes me happy.
Yeah, sure.
And I see myself doing it with Charlie. When he plays the piano, I'm real proud of him playing the piano and things like that.
Yeah.
So we get caught up in that. But it takes investments to make trophies.
Yeah, it does.
And I think we forget that at times, too.
Yeah.
In this world of instant gratification, we want to be able to, like just look at all the weight. Say your trophy right now is to slim down, look great. Well, every advertisement to become healthy is like, we can do it in 30 days. Give me 60 days and I'll change your life. And that's such a lie when it comes to personal health. It's a lifestyle. It's something you'll have to do for the rest of your life to be healthy.
Right.
And so we fool ourselves that we can become great people who do podcasts. I remember when I started doing this podcast, I've been doing it well over a year now. I thought I would be good at it in 6 months. But I realize this takes a long time to receive this, to chase after this trophy.
Yeah, you have to work for it.
You have to work for it. And so we fool ourselves with trophies too.
And that's probably one of the reasons that we cling so tightly to our earthly trophies is because we worked real hard for them, a lot of times.
Yeah, the ones you earn, not these participation ones.
Yeah, but the ones you earn, so the trophy, what it represents in our life. And a trophy can be anything. It could be a job that was successful. It can be, a real trophy, actual, winning in a college sport or something of that nature. And
it can be a diploma.
Yeah, it really could be. So the trophy represents our effort and our diligence. And so that's why people hold on to them so closely.
Yeah.
But
and then it's funny, I had some guys, local guy who has some of the weightlifting records comes into the barbershop. And so every now and then some of these records get broke. And so the talk of, who's squatting what at the local high school.
Yeah.
And who's lifting this or that is brought up. And it's funny when you see these guys see some of their records broke. Because, now their trophy is, now they're the second strongest guy ever who bench pressed or and to get bumped down, I think, can hurt the ego.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time pride.
Big time.
Yeah.
And there could be a 20-year span. In this one instance, there was about a 20-year span from a squat record being broke.
Really?
And the guy was like, well, and you know what? He was happy and sad. It was kind of a mixed bag. You want stronger kids in your community, but yet you don't want it to take your record.
Yeah, because there goes your fame. Your pride and your Yeah, I think it's so you want somebody else to do well, but some people don't want other people to do well.
Yeah.
They want to be the only guy who ever
Yeah.
gets.
Charlie's my oldest son. He's 7, so he's first few sports have been kind of like just teaching him the sports like soccer and baseball, the two that he's played. And so, I mean, his first year of soccer was just like, let's throw a ball out and let's try to get him to go the correct directions. Just trying to get him to learn the logic and the physics of soccer. That, you know, this is your side and that's the other side, and offsides, teach him that and things like that. But T-ball was very much the same way. He ended up getting a bat and T-ball with his name on it, and you know, it was a participation type trophy bat.
Sure.
And soccer was a little trophy. Anyway, he still has those. And now, though, he's actually competing in a league that is going to, you know, have a first, second, third place. And so, because he's 7, he's in first grade. And so kindergarten stuff's like everybody's a winner. Mm-hmm. And so I think this is going to be a year where he realizes it's his year of loss. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like...
And this is what disappointment looks like.
So I guess, and that's not so bad. I don't mind the early stages of that. Like, okay, we're going to just teach physics of this. Like, this is baseball. This is how it works. You're in kindergarten. We're just trying to teach you the different first, second, third, shortstop, you know, all the positions and the theory of baseball. I don't mind that in that age. So it's kind of like Marine Corps, though, when I think about it. You're going to build him up. So right now, Charlie, because he's gotten a trophy at all of his sports, and he's gotten to score and everything. You know what I'm saying? But, so we built him up. Like, in his mind, he's awesome. But I've already seen him play, and he's not that way in reality. And so it's funny. You're going to build him up, and he's going to have to be struck out now.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was playing T-ball. Now it's a machine pitch. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't really strike out in T-ball.
Right. No, yeah. It's just...
You're not, but he's got a strikeout coming, and I'm seeing it from a mile away. And so it's going to be interesting to see how my son handles disappointment.
Yeah. It reminds me of a Parenthood episode where the daughter there she was an only child, and she'd never lost, and so they were trying to teach her how to lose graciously. And I remember the grandpa there was playing chess with her, you know, and she, after receiving the loss, she looks at him, sticks out her hand and goes something like, "Good job," or "Well done," or whatever. And, but she's so mad, you know, that she lost. But anyway. Yeah, and I think in the business world, you know, of course, we all have successes in jobs. So, you know, I think back to the companies that I used to work for that I felt like I did really well at.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always talk about my Mid-America Wireless experience, and I loved that company.
You should. And
so it's just sort of one of these funny things now is, you know, we always look back to the glory days, you know, where we have all these big trophies in our lives. Maybe it was a big sale or a big, you know, contract that you got. But really, we can't hang our hats on trophies forever.
Yeah. They're actually just a resemble of all the pain that you went through to get there. We get caught up, like, look at this trophy, the shiny, you know, this sales that I had, or this, you know, I remember the same thing as with Sarah. We got married. She was a freshman in college. We were married for 3 years before she graduated with her engineering degree. And I remember when she walked across that stage, that's one of the most proud moments of our lives. We sacrificed together for that. We worked extra jobs, tried to stay out of debt.
Right.
Our whole lifestyle for several years was to get my wife through college. And it was something we did together. She earned it in her own right. But I remember being very proud of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so to this point, I always brag about my wife and her engineering.
Yeah.
And you do that because of that.
Sure.
You know, you get real proud, but you stop. You think, oh, yeah, she graduated engineer, but you forget about being broke.
Right.
You forget about me. Our date nights were her hanging out in a lab or in a computer lab or whatever, and I'm just sitting there, you know, hanging out with free internet.
Right.
You know, I mean, our date nights were pretty, in some ways, mundane. She had, like, projects and things like that.
Sure.
But you forget about the hardships.
Yeah.
About trophies. Trophies are sometimes so shiny, so glimmering,
right,
that we focus like, wow, that guy, he achieved this. But how did he achieve it? How did he achieve this trophy of greatness? Whether it's a great company, a successful career, a successful marriage. That can be a trophy.
Sure. And every year that you celebrate an anniversary, that's another trophy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is too. Yeah. We got by, baby. Good job.
Yeah. And you hear these, that's why, whether you're at church or whatever family environment you're in, when you hear about somebody who's been married for 55 years, stand up and clap for those people, because there's a lot of sacrifice that went into that, dedication.
There was a lot of, I'm sorry. A lot of patience, a lot of forgiveness.
So it's good for us to recognize people's trophies and to, say, hey, you really were a stud back then. But it's not forever.
Yeah.
Because trophies eventually get dust on them.
Yeah. Good example, and you don't always have them. Like, I built up a cabinet shop, and I had great cabinet jobs, very fancy kitchen cabinets in people's houses that cost a lot of money, and very big cabinet jobs for whether it be an apartment complex, a hospital, college dorm. Those are some of my big jobs. They were huge trophies to me. I sold that company. I don't even own it anymore, and so it's funny, you can build something and have trophies in it, and then it cannot be yours.
Exactly.
So, I mean, trophies are also not everlasting. It's like when I sold that company, it was like me losing my squatting record. You know what I'm saying? It's like I sold it.
It's bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. You happy that I did it, sad that I did it.
Right.
And so trophies are made to, records are made to be broke, and someone else gets to hold that mantle.
Yeah. And there are trophies that we really shouldn't brag about at all.
Yeah.
Like church softball.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. The meek never show up to that. I've seen deacons do a good amount of swearing at church softball. The little church I grew up as in Stephenville, Texas, I remember I played church softball, and I was really naive, a youth, thinking this will be fun. And so I got time to I hit the first time and popped up, and a guy caught it, and we got out. And then people just looked at me like, what a horrible hit.
Loser.
What a bad hit. So then I'm really focusing on trying to do like a really hard line drive hit, And this is church softball, underhanded, slow pitch.
Sure. The easiest.
I get so mentally, I strike out on the next thing. I strike out on slow pitch softball.
I've done
This
that before.
deacon who's taking me to youth camp and stuff is so hacked off, so pissed. He throws his helmet because he was next to bat and says, "Shit," you know what I'm saying? I see him do that as I'm walking disgracefully back to the dugout to get my glove. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, oh, golly. So
where's the love of God in
where's
that?
the love? Show me the love. Is what I was like. I was so embarrassed. But that was my church softball story, But
Man. Yeah, we, I played some church softball. It reminds me, there's a comedian named Mike Williams who I really love. And he said something along the lines of, I finally gave up cussing, drinking, and smoking when I quit church softball.
Yeah. And the churches are very proud. I mean, even in this community, they come into the barbershop. I remember I can just think the Methodist, the Baptist, the Assembly, all these people come in and they speak about their church softball team.
Yeah.
And how other churches done them wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And each year, it's always funny, and I kind of enjoy it.
It's hilarious.
And
there's churches that have recruited, college baseball players that are actually not members of the church at all.
Hey, it's part of the Great Commission.
Yeah.
Thou shalt go out and recruit good church softball players. It's in Matthew 28.
Probably in Matthew 29 too.
29, yeah. Is it 28 or 29?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's funny.
So, but people get really competitive.
Yeah.
And lose. I don't know if they lose. I like that competitiveness, and I think it's a good characteristic to have. I want that hunger of wanting to win in my son, so he can take that into lots of things in life, sports,
sure,
specifically business. Chasing after his bride. He wants to pursue her. I want him to have that hunger, So what happened if the woman who tells him, I've heard stories like this that says, hey, the young man comes to the girl and goes, "You want to get married?" And she says no. So he has to pursue to get that bride, that trophy wife.
Work for it.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
And so you got it.
There's a hero story in that,
Yeah, for a guy to continue to pursue after rejection,
Yeah.
even after a date, I'm just like, hats off, buddy.
Yeah,
You know?
seriously. And I think, obviously healthy competition is very good. And we need to be people who can strive and sacrifice and discipline our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
When your competition comes to the detriment of church relationships, it's probably not very healthy.
Yeah. Well,
We had a dodgeball tournament locally here.
Yeah.
Speaking of trophies, and my wife organized a team, and our team got second place, which was a really cheap plastic trophy. The chamber did.
Yeah.
And the first place trophy was gold and said first place on it, and the second place trophy was silver, but also said first place on it. So we were both first place.
Yeah.
Just one was silver, one was gold.
It's funny how silver's really going up in commodity prices to make it as a first place trophy.
Isn't that funny? So that's some other trophies that we have are like people, have their car. My car is my house is my trophy.
A lot of status trophies. House, car.
Yeah. My boat.
Pickup. I spoke to a young boy, and he was all proud of his pickup. Got a lift on it and was doing all these accessories and
Sure.
things like that. I remember when I was in high school, that's what I did to my vehicle was really cool.
Oh, it was big.
I had a kind of like a Bronco looking thing. It was called a Ram Charger. It was Dodge's version of a big Bronco.
Yep.
And it broke down on me because I was messing with it a lot. And it broke down with me at the date.
Oh, dear.
And so I knew exactly what was wrong with it. And so, because I'd wired up some stuff to the batteries and everything, I knew it was just a terminal issue. I just needed to go and take care of it. Well, the girl was real embarrassed that it broke down. I think it broke down like at the local Sonic where the drag was.
Yeah.
And she insulted my Dodge Ram Charger.
You let her walk home.
Oh, man, I was mad. I was like, how dare you make fun of this great trophy of this vehicle?
This is my baby.
This is... And she goes, well, what are we doing now? And I said, I'm taking you home. And I drove her straight home and just like, out.
That's it?
That's it. You're out, I called it Black Knight. You can't make fun of Black Knight. Get out.
Do not mess with my trophy.
So, looking back on it, it was probably, But I was very proud of it.
Yeah. That just leads me into another thought about how defensive we get about our trophies.
Yeah.
It's my trophy. This represents me. And sometimes it's, not a bad thing, but a lot of times it can be, we put our entire worth and self-identity into, I don't want to get too deep here, but, into our trophies, and that's not healthy either.
Yeah. And it doesn't carry as much weight in the motion. We're like, man, this is great. I'm the best whatever. My grandma, in this 1968, I have this huge trophy that I keep at my house, but she was a beautician too. She cut hair, and beehives are really popular, real tall hair. And she went to the state fair with a mannequin with this hairdo. It was this tall beehive looking hairdo, and she got first place hairdresser in the state of Texas, and back then.
Cool.
And this Texas State Fair it's the largest fair in Texas, so she had this trophy, and she owned the hair industry in early Texas for years. But can you tell? Does anybody know today who was the 1968 hairdresser of state Texas? No, it doesn't.
I didn't even know they had a category like that.
Yeah, I know exactly right. But she was very proud of it, and I'm kind of still proud of it. And
Sure.
When she passed away, I kept the trophy.
That's cool.
And then we got people who cut hair in our family for generations now.
Yeah.
But that's my whole point is, we think something's so important. We have a trophy. We're state champions. Well, guess what, buddy? Next year, there's going to be another state champion.
Isn't that the truth?
And
it's always another champion.
And when we carry our trophies, like the guy off of Friday Night Lights who's a 40-year-old or 30-year-old man who wears his state champion football ring or state champion whatever, his letter jacket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hopefully in my son's case, his UIL calculator mathematic abilities.
The whole back of his jacket is just a big...
I wouldn't mind if he won like the National Spelling Bee. Like, remember that movie we made? They made a movie about the spelling bee. But the thing is, somebody next year is going to win it.
Yeah.
But when we stay where our trophy is,
Yeah.
we stay like the guy on Friday Night Lights, and he walks up. He's like, you know, he's way out of high school, and he throws his ring out and goes, "Bring home one of these, buddies. Bring home one of these." And he holds his fist out, and it's got this, you know, old trophy on his finger. You're living in the past.
Yeah.
You know, go out and pursue another trophy.
That's
go out
exactly
and
right.
conquer something. You know,
Win something else.
Win something else. You know, I don't want to be a guy 6 foot underground with a state champion ring on my I want many trophies.
Yeah.
You know, I want guys to say, well, he did this, did that.
Sure.
And failed at this, but man, he had fun.
Well, and then there's some, there's some other trophies probably worth investing your time into. Relationship trophies. You
Yeah.
know, having a really great relationship with your wife. And sometimes maybe it seems like we don't care as much about those. Like even, let me just make the stretch here. Even with the wife, you know, going out, like you said, pursuing the wife, and then we finally get her to marry us, and we forget about her.
Yeah.
Like she's not important anymore.
Yeah.
We forget to date her. We forget to pursue her. We forget to love on her.
We let that trophy get a little dusty.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. And
I'm wondering, like, I believe in, with that trophy, making little baby trophies.
yeah. And the extreme version is that if you forget about your trophy wife, she might become somebody else's trophy. Mm-hmm. That's deep.
That is deep. Deep, bro. Real deep.
So, you know.
And when you think about relationships, and I think of you as a minister, because, I mean, your occupation, or who Heavenly Father created you, is relationship trophies.
Yeah.
And Billy Graham, who just passed away, man, you want to talk about a guy who had a list of trophies.
My goodness.
I mean, he's in heaven, and we'll go to that later in the end of the show about our trophies and what they mean in heaven. But, I mean, he was the preachers of all preachers.
Yeah.
And preachers of many presidents.
Yep.
Of many kings, or, you know, where he went across to other, like I remember the Queen of England wanting to meet him, and other, you know, king and queens wanting to see him, and royalty, and not but he could influence things. And I mean, one thing that shocked me was when he knew so much about relationship, he was the first major white televangelical preacher to desegregate his audience. You don't think about that, you know what I'm saying? But that was a trophy he won.
It's interesting.
You know, he wanted blacks and whites to intermingle at his things. You know, and there's a reason why we have black Baptist churches and white churches, and you know, because at one time our religious views were segregated.
It's interesting.
And
hats off to him.
Hats off to him about that.
Yeah, Billy Graham, I think that he's a great example, and I'm glad you brought him up. I mean, just talk about a life of success, but ultimately, you know, his trophies will have eternal value.
Eternal value, yeah.
Versus, you know, just, well, I got this company, you know, a big sale last year. You know, a lot of the stuff, it really fades. But I influenced, you know, millions of people to hear the gospel. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah.
And so in our relationships, we should be seeking after those kinds of things that matter in the end, things that are going to matter in 10 years. You know, if I have a great relationship with my wife 10 years from now, may very well depend on my daily actions today and tomorrow.
Looking at and things that sidetrack us from the major goals, the worthy trophies, can be just real quick. My son was looking at baseball cleats this weekend. The type of cleat you buy is not going to affect how good you play baseball. And that's like that in your life. You know, you can buy the fanciest cleat and put it on your soul, but your soul ain't going to change. It ain't going to get any better because you bought something.
That's right.
It's only going to be better because you yourself drag yourself out of whatever you're in and make yourself better.
Yep. Train yourself.
and train yourself.
Yeah.
And so, Billy Graham was able to do that with his personal life and keep he was above. Nobody could knock him in his personal life. He was
absolutely.
a righteous man. And so he's a great guy with trophies. The type of trophies that I think we should all desire. So, there's all types of funny trophies out there, good ones and bad ones. There's, you could be the Hugh Hefner of trophies, which I wouldn't agree to, but you could be another type of trophies out there, and not that, but there is all types of trophies. So think about the trophies that are in your life. Think about how you're pursuing them, if you're pursuing them, and are they worthy? And
and are you holding on to past trophies?
Are you holding on to past trophies? Are you that guy who's still living in his high school UIL jacket?
Right.
So with that, thanks for listening to The Barbershop, and if you have a mullet, it's time to get a haircut. See y'all next week.